Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening. You are watching Nub's Collection, a YouTube series dedicated to the cataloging and review of every game in my physical media collection. As always, I am your host, Victory Nub, and today we are looking at Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, developed and published by Square and with the assistance of Nintendo, and released in the United States on October 5th of 1992. So if you have played this game, you probably remember it the same way most people remember Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, which is that it is, in fact, baby's first RPG. And I say that rather derisively because, in fact, in part of the marketing for this game, it was described as an entry-level RPG. The game was designed with the mindset that it was going to be a game for people who had never played an RPG before in their lives, and it was marketed towards a younger audience. To that end, they actually reduced the cost of a brand new copy of the game. At that time, I believe most games were somewhere in the $50 to $60 range. This game sold brand new for $39.99 when it was released. It is an entry-level RPG in more ways than just the difficulty or the design, meant to be a little bit softer for people to figure out. Everything about this game just feels like it was done on the low-budge side of things. And we'll see that as we start getting into the game here. This is a Final Fantasy game in name. I don't know if I would consider this in any way a part of the traditional Final Fantasy games that people remember. However, the design of it is more closely designed to emulate Final Fantasy Legend or Final Fantasy Adventure. If you remember those games, I believe they mostly released on Game Boy, where they had more action adventure style elements to them. You don't actually do any first-person fighting, not first-person, but action adventure style fighting. You don't have a button you can press to attack enemies, like swing a sword or an axe or anything like that in this game. Most of what you do fighting-wise is done like a traditional RPG where you get into a menu, you have to select attack, defend, item, and so on. As far as the people who worked on this game, it is not the traditional heavy hitters of Square that you would have expected. Hironobu Sakaguchi had absolutely no involvement in this game. This was written, however, by one of the more famous translators from the Super Nintendo era. If you recognize the name Ted Woolsey, he was very heavily involved in the writing of this particular game. Ted Woolsey was the primary translator for Square for many of their projects in the 90s. His works included Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy VI, Secret of Evermore, Secret of Mana, I think I mentioned that, Chrono Trigger. He also worked on Breath of Fire, which was made by Capcom, before he parted ways with the company when they moved their offices to Honolulu. But he did work on Secret of Evermore, which was a big Square Honolulu game. In fact, I think it was the only one they ever did from that studio. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the story setup going. Let me pull that up. Sorry, I'm going to be reading it from my phone today. I'm trying a different setup in my recording space here. The story section is simply titled The Story. For centuries, the Focus Tower has stood at the very heart of the world. It had been a center for trade and knowledge, and the people of the world had met there to peacefully settle their differences. But on one warm summer day, the tower was suddenly transformed into a symbol. My phone fell asleep. I gotta pay more attention. Into a symbol of the purest evil. For on that day, powerful monsters battled their way into the tower, stole the 4 crystals of the earth, and then took off with the magical coins that had kept the tower's doors unlocked. With the tower doors sealed behind them, the monsters relaxed their guard and turned their attention to the crystals. As they basked in the radiant glow of the crystals, the monsters grew stronger and meaner and even more wicked. The more light the monsters consumed, the more the world was drained of its warmth and color. Tremors shook the land. The sky grew cloudy and dark. The The seasons went berserk. Monsters appeared everywhere and terrorized the people. The world was thrown into total chaos. Something had to be done. Enter Benjamin. Benjamin was the most normal youngster you could imagine. Like most responsible villagers his age, he arose at the crack of dawn to take his family's livestock to the upper meadow to graze. Other kids teased him because he read while tending his herd, and because a village elder had taken him in as a promising student. Although Benjamin seemed mature beyond his years, he still dreamed of being more than he was, faster, stronger, and more daring. Little did he know his wishes were about to be fulfilled the hard way. Yeah, the tone of the story when you get to that next paragraph is very strange. I don't know what it is, but that's not the first one where we've done a story setup, and there seemed to be like a really dark, heavy tone to the story, and then they switch over to another segment of the description or the exposition, and it just feels like it's a completely disconnected and different story altogether. Anyway, let's go ahead and get things started. I like the little movement of the logo there. Now, interesting, I thought they said there were only 4, or maybe I looked at the picture and saw that there were only 4 crystals, but I count 5 on the menu here, so I don't know, maybe another one of those issues where they had translation problems and didn't quite get the number right. So I see that there are 3 save files here, and I'm guessing they were all tied to the same playthrough, but I do notice that the name of the lead character in this is the name of my nephew. So clearly these were files that my mother would have played, and she would have played them in probably the late 90s. This is absolutely one of those games where I got it, and then I gave it to my mother so that she would have something to play when I left for college, and I do not regret it because I remember not liking this game very much after the first time I played it. All right, we're going to go ahead and call our character Nub. End there. Wow, they start hot. No wandering out of the starter village. My village... Oh, wait, who's talking here? Is it my character? My village is gone. What on earth is going on?
This place is going to sink any second. Let's climb up quick.
Okay. Let me move. The game's still doing it for me.
Press the B button and jump across.
Whee! And wait, there was an item back there I wanted. Oh. I don't think I'm going to make that jump, guy.
Look, over there. That's the focus tower, once the heart of the world. An old prophecy says, the vile 4 will steal the power and divide the world behind 4 doors. At that time, the night will appear. The prophecy has now come true. 4 monsters have locked the doors of the focus tower and escape with the keys. They're draining the light from the 4 crystals of the earth, and the world is in chaos. The people are in desperate need of help. Nub, only you can save the crystals and the world.
Me?
Yes, you, Nub. Only you could be the knight spoken of in the prophecy. Look out! A monster!
Good lord, a behemoth this early? They're not playing games. I'm gonna die before I kill him. Did they give me items? Critical hit! I'm gonna die! I'm gonna have to restart! Oh, this is funny. There's no way I win this fight. No, I'm not gonna give up. Interesting. So I have no spells. Do I have any items? I have no items. So it's either win a slugfest with this guy with absolutely no recovery items, or restart the fight. That was a choice they made. I haven't seen a choice this bad since when we played the Miracle Warriors episode, and there was an enemy outside of town that could literally kill you in 3 hits. Oh, thank God. Dude, you were just standing there. You couldn't have helped me?
Seems I was right. At last I found a true knight.
But you said you were sure I was the one.
Well, actually, it was more of a guess.
Wah, wah. Forget it. Just tell me where I can find the crystals.
It's up to you to find them.
Well, that's a dick move. He wants me to find him, and he's like, I'm not going to help you from here. You figure it out on your own.
This place is becoming dangerous. Follow me to the level forest.
Why would they call it that? Follow me to the beginner dungeon. Gotta get out of here. Who is that guy anyway? Yeah, good question. I mean, the game kind of just started. So one of the choices they made in this game, and you can see it at the very top of the screen where the arrow was pointed up to, is that there are no random encounters in this title. Every enemy that you fight going forward, other than the intro fight that we just saw there, requires you to walk up to a character on the screen and interact with them to begin the fight. They usually post them up in areas where you're bottlenecked and you have to fight someone to get past to go down a corridor. However, there are also spots on the overworld map, which you can see up top of the screen there, called battlefields. And the way they work is there are 10 fights that you have to complete in each battlefield in order to clear it and advance past it on the map. You don't have free control over where you go on the map. You are guided either left, right, up, or down, basically. Why did they do that? I don't know. Probably to make sure that you're properly grinding as you play the game. Because, again, this is the game that's supposed to be teaching you how to play an RPG. Hello. So I have a sword I can stab things with. Hello, and I can jump over him. Can I stab him? No.
There you are.
Oh no, that's me. There you are. What do you think I should do first?
Save the Crystal of Earth. See ya.
Well, they really got the mileage out of that shrug move, didn't they? Let's see if I can chop the tree down. I sure can't. They gave my starting character the flimsiest looking sword in the history of swords. That thing looks like it would break if you tried to, like, slice someone with it instead of straight up stabbing them. All right, so those are bad guys, and I have a feeling this is a good guy. That boulder is blocking my way back to town. Would you shove it aside? I guess. Thank you. If you want to go through the forest, find Kaylee and Forrester. And show her this. He takes off his robe. Receive tree wither. Okay. Thank you. Have you seen Kaylee yet? No, I haven't. Push that out of the way, though. Cure potions. Good, I can heal myself now. I probably should do that right now. So I'm not mistaken, all the items in this game heal the exact same way. And all the healing spells cure the same way. Basically, if you use the item or the spell, it gives you 25% of your health back. So to fully top off a character, you have to do every spell or every item that recovers health 4 times. And it doesn't matter how high your level is or low, it's the same amount every single time. All right, so all I can do is go back to town. There you go, Forrester. Well, they definitely got the part where the world looks like it's drained of color, right? Because everything is so gray in this. Come on. The monster can drain energy from a person. I'm really just a child. Okay. Whee. She's lying, trying to get you to sleep with her. Hello. I'm Kaylee. There's a tree blocking the north exit of the level forest. I could chop down the tree, but monsters have taken over the forest, and I can't get to it. I can help you with that. Come on, let's go. This is the most reasonable response in the history of video games. Her mother's probably the lady on the right there. Don't you dare take Kaylee anywhere dangerous. Listen, Mom. Hey, the tree wither looks awful. How much the trees must be suffering. Okay, you win. Yoink! Don't worry, Mom. We got our first party member. Well, second, I guess, technically. And I don't remember how you switch party members. Definitely not that. Well, let's save anyway. So you can save anywhere in this game, as far as I recall. You don't have to go to a save point. Yep, not doing what I wanted. No. How do I change? I may not be able to use her axe. I might have to get my own. My husband, Mac, forgot his captain cap. I hope nothing happens. So your husband is Captain America? What is this? I guess it's just a light source? Alright, we definitely want those. By the way, you got a beautiful rug back there. Sorry I pooped on it. Why would I do that? Strange trees are growing in the level forest. Alright, I'm not going to do any more voices. We're probably going to find 80 old people here. The Crystal Earth is to the north in the Bone Dungeon. What do they do in the Bone Dungeon? Well... If you're tired, have a rest in that bed. Alright, sweet. Free health. Every time you get out of bed, your character just decides to do a pose off. And I don't know if it's every single bed in the game, but we'll find out. Nope, it's just the one. I also don't know if you can actually find an inn in this game or it's always free. So jumping in this game is just holding down the B button. You don't have to keep pressing it. Thanks for the help back there. Take the chest in the back. I don't think that's going to be possible, bruh. Unless I can get through to the backside. Let's try this. Nope. Can I go this way? Nope. Oh, that's a dick move. They tell you about a chest, and they don't let you get to it. Can't destroy them. You can't push the stacks of barrels. You can only push one. Well, I don't even know if you can push one. You may not be able to move any of them. There we go. And jump across these. There we go. Be something good. I learned the spell cure. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you can push them. All right. So who got the spell? It looks like both of us did. So the magic in this game plays a lot like the very first Final Fantasy, where you have a set number of times you can cast the spell, and then you have to go back to town and acquire more. I'm guessing in this game you have to, because I can't remember. If you get in bed, you might get the uses back. And I think Final Fantasy, the original, you had to buy more. Like, you had a set number of times you could cast the spell, and then you would have to buy another set of them. All right, let's go talk to the old man up there. We don't need to talk to everybody, but we want to make sure we don't miss anything, because we're going to spend the rest of the episode probably playing in the dungeon. Turn into an old man. Whee! Anything in the well? Jump in the well. No. Alright, so now in theory we should be able to get past trees that were blocking the path. Let me cut this with my axe. Key up. Gotta reach the north exit. Now, is she gonna let me do any of that myself, or... Nope, sure isn't. And there were no other options for changing the character as far as I could tell. Alright. First random encounter in the game. Whew! She crushed that guy. Important to note, she automatically acts in this scenario because I have her battle command set to auto. You can actually manually choose what she does, but she's killing these guys. And I'm missing horribly. So as with many of the things about this game, they overly simplified the health meter instead of seeing actual hit points. It's just a bunch of little pips. I think you can change that in the options. I think you can actually turn it to a number in case you're not that stupid that you can actually figure out how numbers work. There you go. So if you don't want to see a bunch of color pips, you can actually set it as a number. Message speed is fine. Well, it won't mess with the color, the menu color. Alright, we'll go ahead and do this one. I do not remember. Wow, you miss a lot in this game. I don't remember if you get your health back when you level up. I guess we're going to find out if I level up before the end of this. Or if I die. I have a heal spell, right? Yep, you better heal yourself, buddy. Or she'll do it for you. It looks like that cure spell did more than 25%. Nope, no. So they have the options that you pick on the menu set as memorize, which is an option that has been available in most Final Fantasy games, as long as I can remember, where whatever your last set of command choices were, you can choose an option to set it so that you memorize that and do it the same way the next time. And all you gotta do is just keep tapping the OK button, whatever that is, A, B. One hit. All right. I have a feeling we're not doing a whole lot of damage to a giant pile of ooze. I also think she should be the one taking out those giant imps because my character is still the weakling in the group. And she hits hard. But I'm also catching up real fast. Good, more health, always good. Again, you have the freedom to move around and do whatever you want in the dungeons in this game because there are no random encounters, so you never have to worry about anyone attacking you. And I did notice that that chest had cure potions in it again, even though I definitely checked it the first time we went through here. So it looks like the game gives you some free items every time you enter a dungeon. It may not be all of them. It may just be the ones that had consumables like health. Alright, I'm seeing a glowing tree up there. I'm sure I'm going to have to go to that just to have Kaylee do the work. I can't believe this girl's mom was so worried about her when she's absolutely crushing enemies and I'm just barely hanging in there. Like, who are we kidding here? She did not need to worry. I like the detail that as you're doing more damage to enemies, they have a different texture. Like they change to look a little bit different, so you can recognize visually that this enemy's getting closer to dying than the other ones. Also notice that you got a heal item, which I'm sure is just a panacea. It's designed to basically heal everything. This is the evil tree I was talking about. Key up. Uh-oh.
Surprise!
He poisoned me just as he did the trees.
But she has enough energy for a spin move. All right, so she doesn't appear to have a status effect right now. I'm going to assume that it was just for show there and nothing actually happened to her. I guess we'll find out if she takes damage. Ooh! I hope this wasn't a trap fight where I was supposed to go back in and out of this area a couple of times, get levels, because, man, he hits hard. I don't recall seeing an item shop where I could get armor. I don't think they have armor in this game. Okay, so I'm going to heal myself right now. Or Kaylee's going to do it for me. What? Maybe I should just let her make those calls, but honestly, she's better equipped to do fighting than I am. Critical. Oh, he's dead. Kind of a low amount of XP for that fight. Kaylee, what happened? I'll be okay as soon as I take elixir. Yeah, of course, the most powerful item in the game for healing, and she wants to take that. That's in the sand temple. Don't worry, I'll get it. Then take this axe with you. Received axe. So now I can use that as my attack weapon. I don't know if you get the option to swap items. Oh, you do. Okay, but you don't want to because this is a better weapon. And it did see an armor screen, so I would have to assume there's armor in this game. Again, it's been a very long time since I played this. This is not the first Final Fantasy I ever played. It may be the first Final Fantasy I ever owned, which is, boy, just a really good way to make a person not want to play a video game series ever again. All right, so I have absolutely no one else in my party. This is probably not a good time to pick fights with groups of 3 enemies, but whatever. We're going to do it. Gee up, and of course he missed. Well, I think I know what my biggest complaint's going to be for this game. By the way, party turnover is nothing new in Final Fantasy games. It started, I think, as early as the second game, where you would have people come into your party, hang with you for a while, and then eventually they would either leave the party or be killed or any of a number of other reasons why they wouldn't stay with you. But this may be the record for all-time fastest member of party member joining and leaving. We had her, what, 10 minutes? And she's been incapped, and now we have to go find a potion to heal her? I mean, they wasted no time getting her out of the party. She stuck around long enough to basically give me the axe and then say, oh, sorry, I can't help you anymore. Mom was right, I got sick. Alright, I guess we've done everything we can over here. Let's go up. And now we get to our first battlefield. All right, before we go any further, I can go back to town, and I'm going to heal for free. Where was that bed? Not here. Maybe I can do all the beds. That'd be nice. Chop his crystal ball. And so that one didn't work. Of all the things they put the detail into in this game, why did they do so much detail on the carpets? Yoink. Well, look at that. It looks like every chest in this game that has healing items is going to replenish as soon as you come back. Baby's first RPG indeed. Yeah, give it to him. He's wearing what looks like a full suit of armor, but he's got some ups. Look at that. Hey, how's Kaylee doing? Take care. She's like, get out. You poisoned my poor baby. Take care. ... You know, normally... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go back in. Normally in RPGs, they have at least a little bit of flavor text if you go back and talk to someone like that. This one, they didn't waste any time. They're like, hey, your mission's go get the potion from this one area. We're not going to add anything else for you if you decide to come back to town. All right, and this is the second biggest problem with this game, which is the battlefields that you have to go to and just grind for 10 fights before they let you advance. Ah, oh, crap. And we'll try to kill this frog fast and then heal outside of battle. I think. Okay, yeah, it does transfer over, so... Alright, fight. I do like the detail that the tree is weak to axe attacks. What? How did the tree attack with a full Nelson? It got behind you and wrapped its arms around the back of your head. Then it gave me a wicked noogie. A wet willy. Oh, come on. You better die here. Alright, let's use the heal, or cure. Funny thing about video games and the way that they choose to differentiate between healing and curing, it seems like that is an interchangeable term for giving you hit points back versus curing, you know, like poison or sleep or blind or any of the other myriad different status effects that happen in video games. Sometimes they go by cure, sometimes they go by heal. Why do they flip-flop back and forth between those? I would assume cure would make the most sense for recovering from someone being poisoned or someone getting sick from, you know, biological, sometimes they just call it bio. And heal would be the one that you would want to use for recovering health. But games go back and forth between the two definitions all the time. I really wish someone would be a little more consistent. Like, set down anyone who's trying to make a game where you have those two options and say, this is how it's got to be. It's too confusing. Stop flipping back and forth. Now, I mentioned that this was not the first Final Fantasy that I ever played. However, the first Final Fantasy that I did play was Final Fantasy IV, otherwise known in the United States as Final Fantasy II. At that time, Square had not released every single Final Fantasy entry in the United States. The very first one they released was, in fact, the first Final Fantasy. However, 2 and 3, for whatever reason, I guess they didn't have a ton of faith in the quality of those two games. They did not release them in the United States, at least on the initial release of the game. Where was the bed? Was it here? I think it was here. And when they decided they were going to do another Final Fantasy game and release in the United States, they went with 4, but to avoid confusion over how the 4th game had come out, but not the 2nd or 3rd, they decided to just go ahead and renumber it to number 2. And I don't know if I actually knew that it was not the 2nd game when it came out initially. I think I was probably just, happy that, there's finally a Final Fantasy that I'm going to be able to find in stores and check out. The first Final Fantasy, I don't know if I ever played it when it came out on NES. If I did, it would have been a very limited amount of playtime. I do remember reading extensively about that game, however. I got the strategy guide that came with Nintendo Power for the first Final Fantasy. I must have read that thing cover to cover, I don't know, 15, 20 times. So I knew everything there was to know about a game that I basically played maybe one time a handful of minutes, and that was it. And frankly, in looking back, the original version of that game, just not great. I know there are probably some people who were big fans of it and would hate hearing me say that, but it just felt sloppy. They simplified it down the way that the combat worked in this game significantly, or in this series, I guess I should say. In the first game, it seems like enemies would be able to... By the way, they don't let you get experience until you clear all of the battlefields, so you have to go through all those fights and you get nothing to show for it. Once you finish all 10, that's when you get the big bump for all this stuff. I'm glad to see you don't take damage as you walk with poison. Let's see if I can just recover right here. It does work. Cool. The way the combat worked in the first Final Fantasy is you would basically take your turn, or you would tell your character what they would want to do as just the whole party. Every single person would get their battle commands, and then they would all go in whatever order the game determined that your party and the enemy's party would attack. And they made it so that when you would attack, you had a random number of hits that you would connect with. So you didn't just swing your weapon once and hit the enemy. Sometimes you would do it 2, 3, 4 times. So they randomized how damage was dealt in that game, and it was very strange. I think simplifying it down to you do one attack was probably the way they should have gone all along. Ah, yes, some soothing music to guide me through the Sand Temple. This is what I was thinking of. Give me some smooth jazz. It's a trap! Looking for some cure, kid? First of all, my name is Nub, and I'm looking for elixir. I'll sell you some for, say, 9,000 gold. Well? Whoa! That's way too much! Listen, kid, this stuff is precious, right? My allowance is only 2 gold a month. Then let's do it this way. I'm going to the Bone Dungeon to help find treasure. Or to find treasure. I can't speak. Let's just do the whole thing again. I'm going to the Bone Dungeon to help find treasure. Why did I say help again? Okay, forget it. You come with me and help. If I get the treasure, you get the elixir. Do I have any choice? When do we go? Looks like I was about to punch him in the head. There's a battlefield nearby. Why don't you whack a few monsters there? Maybe win something, kid. The name's Nub. Tristram joined, and the worst part of his design, he has a consumable weapon to attack with, which in theory means I could run out of ways for him to fight. And I don't think you can change his equipment. That's all he has. That's it. You're not allowed to change his weapon. And I have no idea if you pick up more or if you have to buy them, but let's go ahead and do some fighting here. I don't know if I could go into Bone Dungeon right away. Strong against poison attack. Didn't look like it was that strong. Can't I go to the bone dungeon right now? I can. Alright, well, I think I might time-lapse through all these fights just so I get the experience, and then we'll join back up when I get to the bone dungeon. Alright, and we are back, and I got a charm from finishing that battlefield. I didn't get experience, I didn't even get money. I got a charm. And what did the charm do for me? Well, it gave 1 additional defense point for my main character. That's it. That was a waste of time. If they had given me the experience, money, and the charm, I think it would have been worth the effort that I put into getting it, but instead, all I ended up doing was burning through most of my healing potions and some of the ninja stars that my backup character has. And sleeping does not replenish them, which means if I don't find a town that sells them or he doesn't leave the party before we burn through all of those, he's not getting any more. And that would be a very serious problem. Get out of the way, dude! Oh, what is the matter with you idiots? Can I jump him? Good. That may be one of the positives to this game, is they give you the option to jump over people who are blocking your path. Alright, so we want to get to Bone Dungeon today. And try at least to get the elixir. I don't think we're going to have enough playtime in the first hour to actually get all the way to the first crystal of the game. That may be a little bit too ambitious. I think what we'll do is we'll play all the way to the end here to get the elixir, and then we'll go ahead and call it a day. See how much I can do before then. Sandworms. You know, I hate them. That was not quicksand, that was a tornado. Love that when you damage the worm, it sticks its head in the sand. Alright, so you do get some more ninja stars. Boy, they had 0 chill with the enemy placement in this dungeon. You have to walk through like 3 enemy encounters to get through one small tunnel. I'm glad he hit the poisoning one, because I completely forgot that. Alright. Cool. We're killing enemies very quickly right now. I'll say this, I remember thinking that some of the enemy designs in this game felt a little bit too simplistic and cartoony. The art on these sandworms is pretty good. They look menacing. Was there anything else up here that I missed? Or over here, rather, on the right side? I don't think so. What does this do? Alright, so it forces me up this way. Okay, there is one item there. Well, let's do this. Haha! Screw you guys. Let's go get that item. Watch, it'll be another box with 10 ninja stars in it. Alright, so I'm gonna go... I should... No. I do more damage to the trees with the axe, but I really should target the poison frogs so they don't poison us. Which, of course, you leave your secondary person on auto, and instead of it attacking the one that could have the most profound effect on our fight, decides to attack the tree instead. What an idiot. I find it baffling that every time we get another party member, they do more damage than I do. It's not a good look. Alright, next. I get the sense that that water is not safe to walk in, but we will only find out by going in it. Can't get past that. Nope, no poison. All right. Nothing that way. There is a whole lot of nothing in this dungeon. You can walk in all different directions, but you can't do anything else. The door is shut. Well, here goes. Watch this. Bang. Aren't these something? I'll sell you some cheap. How about 50 explosives for 30 gold? Yeah, I guess. Learn to use bomb. And they do let you switch items, which is very good. How much damage do they do? Quite a bit more, but they're also consumable, so I'm probably going to stick with the axe for now. When we get to the boss fight, then I might change my mind. Also, we should go back and see if I can blow up the skeletons with that item. I'll say the soundtrack has some serious issues, but I kind of like the music in this dungeon. Yep, I was right. Cool. What do we get for my effort? A shield. Now that's a nice pickup. And they did put it on, and it's almost as good as my armor, so that was a very valuable pickup. Pays to backtrack. Yeah, I feel like there's maybe 1 plus for every 2 minuses as far as the qualities of this game. This is just the goofiest looking skeleton I've ever seen. That skull does not look menacing. Looks like a cow head going, "Ah!" Alright, which way do we want to go? Because they're going to force me to fight any direction I go except this one right here. What's up there? Alright, so let's fight this guy. Oh, that was a choice they made with that design. Like it's staring a hole into your soul. Now, what would be really impressive, and it looks like that is the case, is if you could change your weapon mid-battle. That is a nice touch. Wow, that did a ton of damage. Uh-oh. I'm gonna miss, aren't I? Well, there goes the last heal. Or did I pick up some more? I don't remember picking up any. No, I haven't. More ninja stars. Alright, so they have found a way to keep you fighting as Tristram. At least as long as you're not going into every single battle available. There we go. I leveled up. It looks like every time I level up, they're giving me 40 hit points. So there's absolutely no variation in that. It's the same amount every time. It also looks like my evasion ability is terrible. And my secondary party members is very, very, very high. He also is immune to everything. Look at that. I mean, he has elemental... Oh, I guess those are his attack parameters for using the ninja star. So he can poison enemies and he does extra damage to anyone that flies. He can defend against whatever the spinny thing is. I guess those are ninja stars. And I don't know what the special is. But the defense, I guess, means he's immune to being muted, which is weird because he doesn't use magic. We've got the Spirit Halloween enemies of the game. They don't want to be too scary. Kids could be playing this game. Nothing there. I can't... Well, I can go that way because there's a bombable spot on that skeleton. Let's try this. Boss fight. Alright, I know I can take this guy out in one hit. He rubbed his stink on me. And apparently it's such a powerful stink that it makes you lose your ability to move your body. Oh, look at that. I guess they're trying to tell me that they want me to use my bombs more. Alright, we'll do that in one fight here. I won't even get to do it. Bang. Well, there you go. The game didn't force me out of that. Alright, we're gonna go with the skeleton because it can't paralyze me. At least not that I saw. Alright, so if I use a bomb, it hits everyone. Interesting. It does a lot of damage. Well, let's go back to something a little bit less consumable. So I gotta fight these guys, can't avoid the fight. Well, I won't get the first hit, but I might be able to kill him in one. There we go, cool. So I think that's worthwhile against the Gorgons, but maybe not any other enemy. I mean, that the face of those skeletons doesn't read, I'm a fearsome opponent. It reads, I'm just happy to be here, guys. Yo. Uh-oh. Alright, let's maybe tank up on some health. Tristram looks fine. Oh. Let's do the big hit. Not enough damage. Uh-oh. I may need to do that a second time. Because I have a feeling Tristram's going to hit me if he hits anyone. Oh, no. Because the enemy attacked him, so they ended the confusion. So there was a choice they made and probably shouldn't have. You can't change your weapons while you're walking. You have to stop moving in order to swap. I'm not sure what they were preventing by doing that. That kind of choice is usually made because, for whatever reason, your character can glitch the game if they try to move while they're changing an object or changing a weapon of some kind. Wow. The poor little dragon puts his head down like a sad puppy whenever he dies. Ah. Oh, good job, idiot. You just kill yourself? He totally just killed himself. But he does come back with health. Alright. Well, what do you have to use for spells? Because apparently he does have one spell, a life spell. I have no idea what that does. It gives him all his health back. Alright, perfect. Alright, cool. Make that easy. That looks like the biggest shit-eating grin in the history of shit-eating grins. Can I go this way? I sure can. And what happens if I do this? I get pushed back. Alright. Now let's go down here. Just the design on every character in this game. It's like they half committed to making the enemies maybe a little bit silly so that they wouldn't be too scary for kids. But then other ones would probably give me nightmares if I was a kid. And I mean, those sandworms, those look pretty scary, if I'm being honest. And they didn't soften that up at all. Alright, I'm guessing this is the primary path and that these other two lead items. Well, let's go and find out. Yep. Oh, I learned an offensive spell. And it does look like the enemies stay down once you fight them. I'm guessing if I come back here later, they regenerate if I leave the dungeon and come back. Something good. Seeds! What the hell do seeds do? I have no idea what that item is good for. Alright, we gotta be getting close to the end here. Yep, that's probably the big baddie.
Grr, you'll never beat me. I have the power of the crystal of earth.
Alright, well there you go. I did find my first crystal. And because we haven't done any grinding whatsoever, I may be in trouble here, but we're going to hit him with Quake and see what this does. Chew off. Whew! Alright, that definitely does a lot of damage. We're going to keep hitting him, and hopefully Tristram will take over recovering my life if I need it. Bone Missile! And they actually animated it, which is a nice touch. Alright, so this is doing the trick. Hopefully I'm not about to get hit with something really brutal. Oh, we gotta be getting close. This has gotta be the last hit. Look at that thing. And it blows up too when it hits. Oh, you coward! Why didn't you heal me first? I'm the important one. Oh, 3 phases! I can't use that anymore. Alright, so let's switch to the bombs. Twin Fang, hit twice. Ouch. Alright, Tristram, it's your turn to do some work to help me out. Thank you. Although he has a spell that could give me all my life back, and he's not using it. For the boss fight, I would have expected quite a bit more out of him. The guy was like, oh, sweet, treasure chest. Let me go grab that. Hey, wait a minute. Oh. Common theme throughout most of the Final Fantasies is magic crystals that have some control over the world, usually elemental in nature. Look! The crystal! Never mind that. Get a load of this stuff. Whoa. I'll keep this. Here. Oh, here's what you wanted. Elixir. Explosives. And this. Sand coin. Like I have to use that to put this back in wherever it came from. And why did I do that? Alright, well, I can't do anything with that, so I guess we just leave? Look, I gotta go. See you around, kid. That happens way too much in this game. Characters are just like, well, this is my pre-scripted section of the story where I just leave you, so see you later. Let me at least get back to Kaylee and give her the item. I like that the game does that for me. It sends me exactly where I wanted to go. Don't need that. And it is down. I don't think there's any hidden passages in this one. There is. So we missed something. I have no idea how I get up to those. Can I jump on them? No. Alright, there we go. What was in here? Explosives! I can earn money, but I haven't found a single place where I can actually spend any of it. Alright, how much further? I think we're almost back at the entrance. This is one of those times where it really would have been nice if I had like an item that could take me back. What does this do? I don't think that would have taken me back. It would have allowed me to choose a party member if it would have warped me back to the entrance. Alright, I think this is where we entered. No, we still got a little more to do. That's right. We're almost... Now we're at the entrance. Alright, let's get back to Kaylee. There's another battlefield that opened up on the far right there. But we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to go ahead and return the potion and call it a day. Oh, she's on the left. And look at that. Everyone is young now, and all the land here is back to its normal verdant green shade. So there was a tangible effect of finding that crystal that we found. Hurry and give Kaylee the medicine. All right, calm down. By the way, I really do love your rug here. It's beautiful. Nub, is it really you? Here's the elixir. Thank you. Now I can visit Spencer and acquire. How about you hang out with me? You know, I saved your life. We were on an adventure that you gave up on about 10 minutes in. You want to go visit some guy named Spencer? I'm not jealous at all. Who's the Spencer guy? Is he tall and handsome? Yes? No? Why don't I go to Aquaria first and look around? Where is it? And totally kill this Spencer guy or say that you want to break up with him. It's through the focus tower and to the northeast. I'd give you the axe back, but you're not going to come with me, so see ya. All right, so let us go back to the main menu, or the main screen here. I think the ground actually changed shades as well. It's no longer that dead kind of brownish tan color. And this is where we would have to go in order to advance because the focus tower is on the right there. All right, let's go ahead and wrap things up. We'll do a round of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is... I do like the action kind of like elements where you have to get a certain item to blow up walls or cut down trees. The light amount of platforming where you can jump on objects to move around the environment. And we did see that there was at least one hidden passage in the Bone Dungeon that I could find by trying a different path on that skeleton that we were walking through. So that there were some items that we could pick up if we explored a little bit more than I was doing. That's a nice touch. The song that was playing inside the Bone Dungeon, the main song there, I kind of liked that. It was a nice song. Overall, I don't think the music is very good in this game, but that was a nice touch. I do like that poison doesn't seem to affect you when you're out on the main menu walking around or inside dungeons. It only affects you when you're in battle, so they did soften the effect of that. Usually in Final Fantasy games, if you get poisoned, you need to actually get out of that status effect, because if you're walking around, you'll still take damage. So that's something that they tried to address and make it a little bit less punishing or punitive when you get poisoned. I like that there's no... Well, I'll say I like that there's no mana pool. I think they simplified that in a way that does make it a little bit easier to understand. You can cast all the white spells or black spells you want, but this is how many times you can cast them, and it is separate. So you have more uses of the white spells in this game, which are healing, than you do black spells, although I had no found a spell until we got to the end of that dungeon. And I think it's a nice way to make it easier for you to understand. This is how many times you can heal yourself. This is how many times you can attack enemies with this spell, as opposed to having one mana pool that you can spread it from. That's probably a good touch. As far as the bad, and boy are there a lot of bads to this game. Number one, the graphics and the music just feel B tier or even C tier. This is not the quality that you would have expected from Square at this point in time. This game came out about a year after Final Fantasy IV, which was superior in every regard to this game. Graphically, it was a much prettier game. The character models in that game were tall, and they had a lot of detail to them. The music was fantastic for that game. It was a demonstration that Square was capable of a much more high-quality AAA experience at that point than they had demonstrated at any point in the past with the games that they were producing. And this game feels like a step back from that. This feels like something that they would have done in the very first Final Fantasy game, and even there, the character models had more detail than they did in this game. All of the characters are the same, very limited, stubby characters, whether you're on the overworld map, walking around in towns, or in fights. There was more detail in the enemies, and even the enemies kind of look low grade, like they didn't put a ton of effort into designing them. The one plus that I did have for it was I thought the sandworm design was pretty nice, but that's one enemy out of what we saw was like, I don't know, 15, 20 different enemy designs, and some of them were just god-awful. Those skeletons didn't look intimidating. They looked goofy, like they were designed to go into a little kid's cartoon from back in the 30s or 40s. What's the Spooky Scary Skeletons cartoon from back in the day? Not intimidating at all. I don't love that one of your side characters gets a primary weapon that he can't change and is consumable. So in theory, if you are grinding for levels, and I never did confirm if enemies come back if you go back into a dungeon. Let's find out real quick. They do, yeah. If you were trying to grind for experience at this early point in the game, Tristram could run out of items because he has no way to replenish what he has. The only ones that I was finding were the ones that were in the chests. So if you actually decided, I want to level this character up a little bit more, and you went back through all the enemies in this dungeon a second or a third time, you could potentially make it so that your second guy can't fight. Who thought that was a good idea? That should never be the case. If you have any character that has consumable items, make it the main character, because he can swap items. I can pick whatever I want to use as a weapon. If I run out of bombs, guess what? I can just use axes. There's nowhere you can buy ninja stars this early. There's nowhere I can buy bombs this early. If I had to use a bomb to get through a tunnel in this map, and I ran out of bombs, I'm screwed. I think the only way I would be able to get them is if the chests containing those consumables regenerate here. And you still have to go through all the enemies that regenerated in order to get to them. That was a terrible choice. They never should have done that. What they should have done was, if they give you ninja stars or bombs, make it so that they don't have a consumable limit. Just give them to you. That was a bad choice. Really bad choice. As far as the ugly, and I guess we've already kind of gone over this, I really don't love the graphics and the music in this game. I just think they did not feel like the quality that Square was capable of. And in particular, some of the weird mugging that the character does just feels very low rent, cheap, not terribly engaging or entertaining. Like, it seems like every time someone does something, it's like, well, I gotta leave. And then he just kind of shrugs at the camera. It just... This isn't a great game. And the choices they made to help make it appeal to a younger audience, they don't even feel like they were well thought out. Yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and give this game a score. We do our score in Randars, 1 to 10. This is going to be a 4. This is a playable game, but in every way it just feels like an inferior experience to games that Square had already released. Not just on handheld, or not just on console, but also on handheld. The limited experience I have playing the Adventure and Legend Final Fantasy games, those are more memorable experiences than this one was. I mean, this just not a great game. Even those little animated enemy sprites on the screen just look so cheap. Like it's 2 frames just rocking back and forth. They cut a lot of corners designing this. I think this is one of those games where they were like, we need something that's going to appeal to a larger audience, but we're focused on making our next great game, and we don't want to put the effort in. So let's give this to some of our interns or some of our new hires that aren't familiar with the dev kits, and let them go to town making this stuff, and we'll just give them the barest of guidance. You know, we're basing this on the design of Adventure and Legend, which have, you know, on-screen attack options and traversal options like a hook shot. We saw the Tristram character picked up the hook shot, which is an item that you use to move around the map in later parts of the game. That is something that definitely was used in one of the adventure games, where you could use a hook shot to cross gaps where there were pegs set up on the other side. Those are things that they clearly meant as kind of an homage or a design choice to go back to the Adventure series that they put in this game, which are nice, but ultimately the fights aren't fun. Oh, and I forgot to mention the battlefield stuff. Why would you do that? If you don't want to have random encounters, that's fine. Just don't have the battlefields. Make the dungeons bigger. Have more enemies in them. Let the player decide how much they're going to grind. Don't force it on them. The battlefields were just a terrible mistake, and I'm glad that's not something they've revisited, as far as I know, in Final Fantasy games in the future. It's either random encounters or enemy fights that you can initiate on your own, but they don't have checkpoints where you have to go through a set number of fights in order to do that. And that really should go in the bad. The battlefields were just a dumb choice. They should never have put them in this game. So for Randars, this is not a good game. If you want to play a Final Fantasy game, go find 2 or 3 or 4 or 6, whatever the numbers are that you choose to refer to them as. Those are good Final Fantasies if you're starting out. They're not that hard to figure out. Square should have had more faith in the audience that they were marketing this towards. And this was very much meant for an American audience. This game was not designed to really do anything in Japan, because they had faith in their audience to understand how RPGs worked. It may have been released in Japan, but I guarantee you this was meant to appeal to a Western audience. Everything about this game just screams we were trying to capture an audience that was burgeoning but still hadn't really bought into the design philosophy of the RPG experience that Square was basically making a name for themselves designing. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Nubs Collection. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.